From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, this is a Headache Soul production. Welcome to Just the Tip-Sters, America's favorite true crime podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Morgan. With me today is my talented and handsome co-host, Joshua, Employee of the Month, Bevan.
Employee of the Month. I'm waiting for my certificate from HR.
It's on its way. It's at the printer.
Okay.
And we're having the gold seal added.
Perfect.
Yeah. This is our 300th episode.
Oh my gosh.
300 episodes, Joshua.
Hey.
And it's pretty special that you're then named Employee of the Month.
Employee of the Month on the 300th episode.
Yeah, your picture goes on the wall.
Okay.
It's a picture of me and you and Matt.
Oh, hey. Aw.
Well,
I like that.
October.
I like that picture.
I hate
It's
that
sweet.
picture because you look like I have my finger up your ass.
Oh,
your
wow.
eyes are like the size of saucers. You're like, hi. And I was like, what was he doing?
When don't you?
I never put my finger up your butthole. Why do you say these terrible things? Why do you start these rumors? You're a horrible human being.
Yeah, I look pretty weird, but you and Matt look amazing, and that's who I look at when I look at pictures.
No, you don't, you liar. When I had that picture out on my desk, you walked by and said, oh my God, I didn't know that was me. I thought, that's a good looking guy. You said that. You fucking said that. All you look at is yourself, you fucking weirdo. Oh God. Anyway. Welcome to our 300th episode. And this is going to be good. Yeah, thank you. This is going to be a little different because we're going to do some updates on a couple of cases we've covered. As usual, this episode is sponsored by our friends at Graveline Tours. It's graveline.rip. If you put Tipster40 in the promo code area, you get a healthy 40% off of any tour that you book. And I'm so excited because starting in January, the Black Dahlia Tour.
Sweet.
So excited. The one I've been waiting for. Adam sent me a text and said she launches in January. And I'm like, fuck yes.
Nice.
Cannot wait. So in the last episode, Joshua read mean reviews.
Do we have more?
No.
Already?
It's just, before we've released it. People have reviewed us in the last hour. We are just, a couple of crappy reviews have knocked our ratings down, and it's sort of dumb. So if you are so inclined, if you could give us a rating or review or follow this podcast, we'd be very grateful. Apparently, Apple Podcasts, people read the reviews there and decide, whether they want to listen or not. But you can review us on any streaming service that you use that allows reviews. A lot of them don't, which is interesting. But yeah, we could use, some ratings and reviews, and I typically forget to ask for that.
No.
So I got the sweetest message from Tipster Sherry. The episode on Suzanne Joven at Yale, Sherry said, I have just written an email to the Attorney General of Connecticut, and I hope the rest of your listeners do too. Sherry is a true gem of a human being. And I love that, 25 years after Suzanne's murder and it's still unsolved, Sherry wants people to know that we still care.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
That's amazing of her to do that. Really amazing of her to do that. I'm very grateful, Sherry. So I wanted to say to poor tipster Angela. Angela is a doll. She, and not to not to add this in, but she did give us a really great review. But she is hilarious and funny and sweet and kind, and sent me a clip from the movie The Other Guys. And I was like, I don't understand. Why did you send me? Okay, it's funny, but I don't know
Don't know why.
What are you talking about, Angela?
Okay.
The poor woman had to send me like 3 additional messages like, remember that time in the podcast that you do?
It was about something we said.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't know what she's talking about. I feel literally, I thought Angela was going to be calling for a welfare check for me because I was like, oh yeah. So if you tell me something I said, was funny or meaningful to you, please be just like, right, almost like a quote, because I don't remember the second it leaves my mouth.
Uh-huh.
And it was several episodes ago. I was talking about the Amanda Knox podcast. I think it's called Labyrinths. And she has a co-host who mentioned that true crime has always been of, interest, and that it used to be spread with almost like a wanted poster, like nailed to, the town square.
Sure.
And in bars, crimes sung to the tune of sea shanties, like the same specific melody.
Drinking song.
Yes.
True crime. Yeah.
Yes. So this quote or this clip from the other guys is so hilarious. I wanted to include it here because God bless Angela.
2300 Park Avenue. It's the offices of the lottery.
Holy shit, the lottery tickets we found.
Herschel is using the lottery money to cover his losses. $32 billion. That's the state's money.
Well, what do we tell Mark? The guy lost the money, we have a scratchy cell phone message and an address? It's still half a case.
There's got to be some sort of paper trail. If we can find that, if we can track it, then we can go to Mock. So, I did some more research on Urshan's accounting firm, and I found some pretty interesting stuff. It turns out that Gretchel and Dawson has... Hold on, I'm up.
I gave my love to Erin. She promised to be true. I went to war to come back and find 5 British soldiers had their way with her. It was consensual.
Done?
Gretchel and Dawson accounting firm in Fair Lawn, New Jersey has only one client, David Urshan. Pretty rinky-dink operation for a guy like that.
Looks like we're going to Jersey to visit an accounting firm. That's a shitty day.
And all their fathers were hanged, and the children all got pink-eyed, while their Harry Potter books were burned.
Do you have fun singing those songs? They're really depressing.
I do. They're full of rich history.
So Angela is,
Nice.
She's like, remember when you talked about old timey crime songs?
Right.
No. But she goes, you talking about this reminds me of that scene in The Other Guys, and actually sends the scene. And I'm like, I don't understand.
Right.
Was I talking about Mark Wahlberg? I don't know what is Angela talking about? So anyway, thank you, Angela. That was
Angela.
hilarious.
That's
and interesting. And yeah. So I'd promised a couple of episodes ago an update, and then I completely reneged. So before that, I want to say thank you to New Zealand. We're on the Apple charts in New Zealand.
Oh,
I know.
So I need to start learning a new language.
Yeah. Can
I speak?
Maori? Is that it?
Maori?
Maori.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you do that?
No, I was kind of joking because they speak English, but
do they really though?
I mean, they speak a language that's something
Similar?
like English.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like Kiwis. They're
I
fun.
have great respect for New Zealanders. So, I mean, like Taika Waititi is
my God, hilarious.
Genius. So,
And
yeah.
and all of that Flight of the Conchords crew there that they've kind of met up together.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's such dry, also dark and brilliant humor. So yeah, the fact that we made the charts, the true crime charts in New Zealand was like kind of huge to me.
So we're adding New Zealand to our
world
podcast world tour.
Yeah, that's where we'll go first.
Heck yes.
Mark thought we'd go to Australia first, but I don't know if they've given up on us or I don't know.
It's pretty close though.
I know
right?
it's the same, but not really at all.
We can go to both.
Island hop. Yeah, why don't we do that? Yeah, we'll go to Australia and then New Zealand, or New Zealand first and then Australia. I don't know. I don't even want to leave Santa Clarita, but anyway,
okay, fair.
We'll figure it out at some point.
We'll get the remote thing working, and I'll go on the tour.
Okay,
and you stay.
I'll stay here. I love that.
Remote it in.
I love that. Here's what I thought you were going to say. I didn't think you were going to do something that sweet. I thought you were going to say, "I will chloroform you," and then you'll wake up in New Zealand, and we'll do a podcast.
I mean, okay.
Okay.
I've got to like Weekend at Bernie's you onto the plane.
Yes. Just sunglasses and one of those like dollies like Hannibal Lecter got rolled in. strap me in, bungee cord me in so I don't fall out.
Yeah, I'll put like
She's tired.
I'll tie strings to you or whatever to make
my
you
arms
wave.
move. Oh God. Okay, this is getting creepier and creepier. Yeah, it's okay. That's all right. I thought you were going to go straight to like roofies. But no, you go to like wheeling me in on a plane with strings on my hands. I'm like, holy crap. Okay. I'm sorry, New Zealand. Thanks for putting us on your charts.
Right.
And now I apologize
No,
for our
thank you.
behavior. We are children. I have a small update on Tom Starkel's case. Tom's case we covered at the end of February of 2022. And it's being looked at again by cold case detectives due to a tipster coming forward with some very interesting information.
Oh, cool.
It's still being looked at. She's still being interviewed. I believe it will be her third interview coming up soon. And they're trying to piece everything together. So if you could please keep a good thought for his brother, Rod Starkel, who is really kind of the one spearheading any sort of information and polishing off the cold case of his brother, Tom, who's been missing for 44 years, right around now, December 9th. So,
Wow.
yeah. So please keep the Starkel family in your highest thoughts and prayers. And really, let's hope that this piece of information, it's a pretty big piece of information. Let's hope that that can go somewhere. I need a lot of good thoughts and prayers for this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of an update on our 300th episode, not just Tom Starkel's case, but also Herschel Chandler's case. So Herschel's, another unsolved homicide, Herschel's partner's nieces contacted me. So Herschel did have a partner.
Oh, okay.
A longtime partner.
Okay.
Their uncle, these girls' uncle. And it's so heartbreaking to me because in every article that they sent me, which they sent me a huge amount of articles and some very sweet things here, pictures of them together, family, it says the only family he is, on record of having is cousins.
Yeah.
So,
Shit.
this is at a time, 1984 in central Indiana,
Right.
where your longtime companion, I mean decades long.
Oh, okay.
They were together like 20 something years.
Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because you told
Had a house
the whole
together.
story before as if he were a single
Mhm.
guy from the
Mhm.
oh, man.
Yeah.
That's heartbreaking.
It is because he obviously, I got a little teary eyed because I worried that, no one cared.
Right.
And I knew he had friends and people who cared. I just didn't know how many people he had that cared, obviously. So the two nieces of his longtime partner messaged me, and one of them sent me, she has all of the information about her uncle. It's a whole lot of information here, a lot of articles. There's actually an archive in the library at Hanover College, the Herschel Chandler Memorial Archive.
Oh, okay.
With all of the, news clippings that were kept.
Okay.
This beautiful gift of all this information does not change the fact that Indiana State Police isn't doing jack shit.
Mm.
And much like the amazing Sherry, who sent a email to the Attorney General of Connecticut, I'm going to ask that you send an email to the Attorney General in Indiana, like I did, to the General Counsel. I can't stress this enough. People need to know that people still care. And obviously, Herschel's, I guess he went by Lee. I think his middle name was Lee, and I guess he went by Lee. But so, that Herschel's partner's family is his family.
Yeah.
And they, there was some information I didn't have that he had attempted to make a phone call the niece who sent me the information, and I'm not saying her name because I want to value her privacy. I don't think she would mind, but just in case she does, I don't want to say her
Okay.
name. That he had called the chancellor's wife, and I was like, none of that makes any sense. So it wasn't the chancellor's wife; it was the superintendent of buildings, and it was 4 a.m. and the wife happened to pick up.
Okay. So Herschel's the night guard. He's hanging out and he picked up the phone. There's a phone record of trying to call the building superintendent.
Superintendent of buildings.
So superintendent of buildings.
It's 4 a.m.
At 4 a.m. So something was going on that he was trying to
Reporting.
report. And didn't get all the way through.
Right.
So just talked to the wife.
Yep.
Okay.
You're going to hear exactly what happened.
Okay.
And the superintendent of buildings got up and looked around the campus, but never found him.
Oh, never found Herschel?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
He went looking for him and was like, I don't know what, because the wife heard a scuffle and a groan, and then the line was disconnected.
So he picked up the phone. So he had the phone in his hand when the conflict started, and then eventually got beaten to death with that phone.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Or they think.
Okay.
Because I would think if he was beaten to death with the phone, it would show that, because apparently it was very horrific. I don't know if they were like, which I'll be telling you all this. You know, it's like maybe one person in, one person. No, it's a great questions. One person in the building, one person outside the building. They said a hammer-like object.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the person brought something with them. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they used whatever was there.
Okay.
So it's tough sometimes with blunt force head trauma.
Sure.
To be precise.
Right.
And 1984, Central Indiana, maybe it's even harder, So this is from May 14th from the Madison Courier. A Hanover College security guard was murdered early this morning when he discovered a burglary in progress in the business office of the college's administration building. The Jefferson County Prosecutor's Office called the death an apparent homicide. Yeah. At 4 a.m. today, a burglar or burglars gained entrance to the administration building through a back ground floor window. Now, I can tell you that a back ground floor window was cracked or, had been broken into. I will also tell you from the number of people that went to Hanover that messaged me, called me, etc., shit like that happened a lot. It would be like college pranks.
Oh, okay.
Windows were broken a lot. Breaking into buildings was like really common. I think it's so fascinating. Like I don't really get it, but okay. One person told me, look, my freshman year, a couch went sailing through a window.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, oh, okay. Frat games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. And I found out more information about Herschel. He was an Army vet from World War II. He was a member of the Broadway Methodist Church in Indianapolis. And I mean, he was just beloved by everyone. It's like no one could think of any sort of a personal reason why this would happen. And I totally get that, because he just seems like such a great guy. People who worked there said he loved his job. He came from this place where everyone was good. Man is inherently good.
Yeah.
And if kids do dumb shit, he wants to talk to them about it. He doesn't want to like arrest them.
Right.
Or, he didn't even have the power to arrest, but to observe and report.
Right.
He just wanted kids to get a good education, and he just wanted to fucking keep the peace.
Right.
Yeah. So this is from the Indiana News, May 14th of 1984. I got to tell you, Jens Sorensen, the college's public relations director, I don't know that he did such a great job. I will also tell you the president of the university comes under some sort of microscope by everyone who went to school there. President Horner, I guess his name's John Horner. Yeah. So the public relations director said, What a real waste of a human life. He said that the safe that was, slightly messed with, the dial was knocked off, contained less than $500, and all of the checks were stamped for deposit only. And here's another article that says, his survivors include several cousins. That's the part that's, he had people who loved him. It just was in a way that 1984 wasn't, always accepted. I got to say, I love this like so much. I don't want to say that this person, I'm not really into letters to the editor kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say that this person is a busybody, but I actually love this person very much. So this is from the 17th, like a week after Herschel's murder, from the Madison Courier. It's called Viewpoints from Our Readers. And this is so hard to read because it's so dark. It's been copied so many times, but I have to read it. This person, her husband also worked as a guard at Hanover College. She said, I'm writing to make a statement concerning the death of Herschel Chandler, a Hanover College security guard. My husband is also a guard at the college. College President John Horner, in an interview by Channel 32, which is in Louisville, on Friday the 11th, stated that Mr. Chandler would not have been killed had he not entered the admin building. While this statement is, of course, true, it's ridiculous. One of Herschel's jobs was to check buildings inside and out. It's not unusual or out of the ordinary to find someone in a building or to find a building open on the campus. How could he have known if it was a college prank or an intoxicated student? How could he have known any of this? But he still had to check it out. The general rule of procedure has been to check it off and then call for help, which is absolutely what he tried to do. Was this the first burglary on campus this spring? No, this was not. The others simply were not reported to the police. Had the guards been told to proceed any differently after the other burglaries? No, they were not. How could he call for assistance or protect himself once he had entered the building? Certainly not with a flashlight, but this was all he had. President Horner should have stuck with his original statement of a life lost in the performance of duty instead of blaming him. How is a man with a flashlight going to prevent a tragedy?
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty, strong statement from someone who's the wife of another guard who,
Well, yeah, what else is he supposed to be there for if as a security guard, if not to secure the buildings?
Right.
I mean, yeah, I agree with her frustration in her husband's boss.
Yeah.
That's not cool to just throw your security guards under the
if he
bus.
hadn't gone into the admin building, he wouldn't have been killed.
Well, you hired him to go into the admin building, or your people did. So
I'm telling you, no one has anything
bullshit.
good to say about President Horner. I don't know why.
Yeah.
That was the first piece of someone who wasn't a student saying something, because it was like, hey, if Horner's involved, I wouldn't put anything past him. And I was like, I wonder what that means. But it's interesting.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. He's still alive, by the way.
Still
I think
administering colleges?
Nope.
Okay.
He's retired. I think he lives in Virginia, maybe. I'm not saying anything about, calling him or finding him on social media and telling him he's a piece of shit. But anyway, I would never do that.
I wouldn't think that you would.
No, of course not.
I didn't hear you say that
You
at all.
heard nothing. So they can narrow down when he was murdered because at 4 a.m., Mary Heights, the wife of Wilbur Heights, the superintendent of buildings, answered the phone, and she recognized Herschel's voice. And she heard a grunt and a thud, and then the phone went dead.
God. So she heard it.
Mm-hmm. Before that, she heard Herschel ask to speak to Wilb, which I guess is his like shortened nickname. So the president, Dr. John Horner, was arriving at work and had no idea what had happened. I'm not sure why Mr. Heights hadn't called. Maybe they just thought it was like a disconnected line or.
Oh, well, okay, but 4 a.m. to 7, so he goes and walks around, but yeah, maybe just not enough time had passed necessarily to.
It was a rainy night.
Yeah.
There's a broken window in the business admin office building. I don't know that, he saw that.
Right.
I mean, obviously
he didn't, because
right.
if he ended up at that building, he would have seen.
Right.
So he did a tour of the campus, but just didn't happen to walk into
right.
that building.
So John Horner is walking, into his office, and the janitor says something bad's happened. And, he finds Herschel and said, this is something bad that's happened here. And he also says, Herschel didn't have an enemy in the world that I knew of. So since Herschel's murder, Horner said that the campus has been apprehensive and cautious. They have beefed up security. In the admin building, they put gratings on the lower windows and a new iron gate, which will help in terms of protecting the building itself. We've upgraded the training of our security offices. We've done everything we can think of to make it a safer place. Even President Horner says, why would an assailant break into a business office unless they were looking for money? Well, another theory is that they were looking to change grades. That was sent to me by a student. So, all of these archives of news stories are so like, it's so wonderful to know there's a lot of this stuff. So I hate that it says like in one article lying face down in a pool of blood, and other articles, lying on his back in a pool of blood. It's like, okay, can we just get one thing right here? So one of the things sent to me was this like very lovely writing remarks by Ralph Burris at the memorial service for Herschel. And he says, Herschel Chandler was a gentleman. Herschel Chandler was a gentle man. He believed that people were inherently good and conducted his rounds of his campus that night with that philosophy very much in mind. He did his job in the lonely hours of the night when most of his contacts were students. He was convinced that reason and common sense was the appropriate response when attempting to maintain the safety and well-being of our students, whose intelligence and integrity he very much respected. He very much disliked having to take an action against any person. He died in the line of duty in the most literal sense of the word. Somewhere there is a person who committed a barbarous, senseless act which would seem to belie his faith in the inherent goodness of man. But perhaps if we, who remember him, will think of him and his philosophy once in a while when we are dealing with our fellow man, perhaps his death will not have been so totally in vain. May he now have found the peace that he sought on this earth and be where all is peaceful.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
He obviously had a lot of people who cared about him and respected him, who worked with him, who knew him, and who loved him. His longtime partner, his partner's family who adopted him, and he was their family, and I don't know who did this. I've been told so many different things, but I can tell you one thing. Somebody still knows who did this. There are still people who know, I think more than one person who knows. And we have a couple of phone numbers. I'm going to give you all the numbers I can think of to give you. And if you want to send an email like the amazing Sherry did on Suzanne Jobin's case, I'm going to give you an email address too. So the Attorney General for the state of Indiana is Todd Rokita. His phone number is 317-232-6201. And I'm bypassing the Indiana State Police because they won't give you shit. They won't give me shit. They won't even give other officers shit about this case.
Jeez.
Governor Eric Holcomb's General Counsel Michael Nossett can be reached at 317-232-4567. You can also email him at mnossett, which is M as in Mary, N as in Nancy, O as in Operation, S as in Sam, S as in Sam, E as in Elephant, T as in Tom, T as in Tom, mnossett.gov.in.gov. And again, his phone number is 317-232-4567. And you can call us here at the Tipster Hotline at 832-847-7837. You can email us at jttipsters@gmail.com. If you have a chance, give us a rating, a review. And we can't thank you enough for being with us for 300 episodes. And these two updates are cases that are close to my heart. And here's really hoping that we can get something done on these cases. And more cowbell.
If you would like to support this podcast and get early access and other cool murderous swag, go to patreon.com/justthetipsters.